When I was younger, one of my dreams for it was to be an international interpreter. And I kind of knew that this is what something that I would excel at as far as like a career and stuff like that. But I remember when I was younger, my mother and my father used to always say, that girl's gonna need something where she could talk, because I'm tired of getting this report on a report card that she's talking in class or trying to help all the students. So I just knew that it was something around talking, but I was young to not really realize it. But I just enjoy helping people and communicating, and communication or language. I was just always fascinated with it. The art of language and talking and telling this person that they said this and translating that to be able to do that. So that's what I wanted to do. Well, one of my biggest dreams when I was a teenager. That was my ultimate goal. I grew up with both of my parents in the home until I was about 10 years old. And I can remember us going to church every Sunday, because I think my dad was an audio engineer at the church, and then my mom was also the choir director. So I was at church all the time. And my parents, once they were divorced, once my parents were divorced at 10 years old, the dynamics of the house kind of shifted, but my parents were still on one accord. And that's what I could always appreciate. If they argued, I never got a chance to see it. If they had a disagreement or something like that, they did an excellent job of co-parenting as I was in high school as a teenager. So some people will kind of classify that as like, you came from a good home or good environment. I really don't have like a horror story from that, but my story, my upbringing, or how it all turned out is like saying that even if you come from a good background, you can still get in trouble. Even if you may be in a different environment, you can still get in trouble. Though my parents did a great job co-parenting, I still felt lost. It's kind of hard to explain it. Now that I'm an adult, it's still kind of hard to explain that feeling. Like, there's, when you're used to something, it wasn't like I never knew who my father was or my mom. It was in the same environment or in the same place. So I felt lost, and I felt like I couldn't fit in type of thing. It was like I went to church so much, and my friends were doing something wrong, bad things. It's like I went to church all the time, and my mom kept that dynamic from me being a young person in one household. She kept that type of lifestyle. However, I couldn't take that same dynamic into school, and that's when it became really difficult for me, because the students were doing bad things. And if I wanted to be accepted, I felt pressured to follow along or get along to get along. And that whole like time frame or time span in my life, it was kind of like me trying to find myself. But there were times that I couldn't go to anyone, or I just didn't know who to go to get these questions. So I felt alone. And then I started trying to figure it out myself, right? Anybody that knows me knows that I'm not gonna wait if I come across a hurdle, and that was instilled in me. So I was still trying to figure it out. And when I thought I did, what life was about, because you get all these pressures. You get a lot of pressures of, what do you want to be when you grow up? You gotta do this, you gotta go to college, and you really don't even know what you're gonna go to school for, if you even won't like it. Yeah, and it was a lot of different pressures on that. So I was just really kind of confused, and I just tried to figure it out myself. And from what I was hearing on TV, from the music, from my friends, I just thought, like, this is what I'm supposed to do. Is either become a stripper, either be the ride or die girlfriend, or sell drugs, or hustle. That was in my teenage adolescent thought process. I was like, well, people were pressuring me that I have to figure out something of what I want to be and go to that. Yeah, but to be honest, I really didn't know, and I didn't know how to ask for help, because it kind of came with, you're a teenager now, you're 16, you're 17 years old, you're supposed to have this figured out. And the truth is I didn't. And I thought I had life all figured out, but I was wrong. So because I thought I had life all figured out, and instead of just thinking or feeling pressure to do these things, I actually did it. You know, even though I graduated from high school with a high GPA, I had 2 basketball scholarships, on my way to college in pursuit of the American dream. But in my thought process, from graduating from high school to going to college was probably 2 to 3 months before I got settled into school. And I was at a place where, in my mind, now that I'm 17 and out the house, I have to make some money in order to survive these months before my scholarship kicks in. Well, I was out with my friends, and 2 weeks after I graduated from high school, I found myself on the other side of the law with 11 counts of armed robbery, 5 counts of aggravated assault, facing 135 years in prison. So before I got in trouble, I thought I had it figured out, because we were on the spree and co-defendants, and I'm like, oh, we're getting to the money, just like the music says, just like the song says. And I just hit this brick wall really fast, because I didn't know what was on the other side of that. I had an idea, or thought I had one, but I didn't. And that's when I knew what I was doing, what was wrong. However, I wish I would have just took 10 minutes to think before I made such a drastic decision. On the night that I got caught by the police, I went to this pool hall with my ex-boyfriend, and I would never forget it. It was on Buford Highway on 285, and we just got off the accident and went to the pool hall. And at the time, you know, I was smoking weed, so I was high as a kite. I was drinking, all this stuff, doing all these bad things. And we go to the pool hall, and it was supposed to be somewhat of a date, or the last time I see him. Anyhow, everybody was staring at us. As soon as we walked in, can you imagine walking into a place? It's like them scary movies, and then everybody just turned their heads and just looked directly at you. It was like that. It was terrifying, because I didn't even have an idea why they were looking at us, why they were staring. So you should have seen the guys look in his eyes, because when you go play pool, you got to give them your ID to get the pool sticks and everything. It was fear. So we go to the pool table, we're playing pool, and then we're trying to act normal, because maybe I'm just being paranoid because of being, you know, high at the time. And it was just so uncomfortable that we didn't even finish the game or anything. That said, let's just leave. So when we left, right across the street was a gas station, and all the lights were on. It was about 11, almost midnight, close to midnight at this time, and all the lights were on. So of course, when you see an establishment at night, you think it's open. So we go to the gas station. He knocks on the door, tries to open the door. Nobody's in there. He goes to the other side. When he goes to the other side, guess who's on the other side? The police.